Hey, welcome to Culture Shock. So I'm always amazed by, despite the differences in the businesses that we work with at Happy Sandpit, from big ones to little ones, from publicly listed ones to privately held ones, from different industries, from mining to banking. I mean, you name it. Despite their massive differences, when it comes down to people engagement, they have a similar set of challenges. And if I was to try and distill this into one idea, one recurring theme, which you probably can't, but if I was to try, I would say that there's a difference between being systems thinking and people thinking. And organizations that drive high engagement tend to be people thinkers, but organizations that battle with this tend to be systems thinkers, despite their desperate desire to be organizations of high engagement. And I'm always reminded, a few years back, I co-founded a company that had a magazine, and one of my roles was to go out to media strategists and media planners and present this magazine to them and say, do you think it's worth some of your clients' advertising spend? And it was a new magazine, didn't really have a track record, and it was at the time we were making a market for it. Now, subsequently to that, other magazines arrived in the market, and we went on for 10 years and published this thing very successfully. So we were right about it, but right at the beginning, there's no proof of that. And so I'm sitting there in front of these guys and these girls, and I'm saying, look, what do you think? And they're inputting the various bits of data, and of course they're coming back and saying a version of the computer says no. Whereas, but then I'd say, what do you think though? Do you think this could work? Do you think it's worth a small amount of your client's advertising spend? I'm not talking about vast amounts here. It's the scraps at the end. Could you put them in and just, because we need this thing to be commercially viable in order for us to run. But I think we've really got something here. And they said, across the board, pretty much, yeah, look, we think this thing's got legs. We think this could work, but we just can't. And this is the problem. So I sit there and I always think about the conference audiences. I mean, I attend quite a lot of conferences. I'm on stages quite a lot. I'm in the audience quite a lot. And no matter what happens, I watch people writing ideas down because there are always good ideas flowing around. There are good ideas. Companies are sharing their ideas of how they've built training programs or succession programs, or how they've created an office space that enables them to drive higher levels of engagement. They're talking about the things that they've done. They're openly sharing ideas, and everybody in the audience is writing down, oh my God, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. But when they get back to the office, nothing. And part of the reason nothing happens isn't because of a lack of will, isn't because of a lack of a desire. It's because the systems don't allow for it. Like, there isn't a cost center number for us to be able to do these sorts of things, so we can't. There isn't a steering committee or a planning committee for us to be able to consider maybe how we should implement a different type of leave policy for employees or something like that. We're far too busy. Let's just stick with what we're doing, and that's the problem. See, the reality is driving high levels of engagement requires us to do very, very different things. We can't just do it by talking about it, by thinking about it, by going halfway in. You can't run a hot bath by putting in lukewarm water. And this is always going to be the challenge, I think. Until we get over that, until organizations are able to actually just abandon all of the sort of the constraints and all of the sort of the systems that right now don't necessarily serve them. In other words, they're looking at the common sense and they're kind of going, this could really work, we could really try something, but they're not able to. Until they're able to actually divorce themselves from that method of thinking, that systems lockdown, then we're never really going to drive high levels of engagement. We're never really going to have that kind of strong culture, that kind of strong inspirational leadership. We're never really going to have it. Organizations that do those things do them because philosophically at their core, they're different to you. And that's the reality of this. So anyway, it's been food for thought for me all week. I hope it's food for thought for you as well. And I wish you a very successful week.